Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
What do you do? Run faster. Shalom, call Halayim, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Harakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well over the flock. Shalom and salutation to brothers out here that's pushing the words of truth and sincerity. Shalom to the elect, Akim and Aquaf, scattered Israelites. Shalom. I brought this out. This video will be edifying, and I'm going to deal with the book of Revelations 17 real quick. So bear with me. So this is the book of Revelation 17, and let's start out 1. It says, "And there came one of the 7 angels which had 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters." So the first question will probably be, who is that great whore? All right, who is that great whore that the scripture is talking about? Well, it's referring to America. All right, it's referring to America because it's a whore-ish like country. It's a whore-ish like city, and it's known as a great city in the book of Revelations as well. You see here Isaiah 53:7-3 says, "But draw near hither, ye sons of the sorceress, the seed of the adulterer and the whore." All right, so the children that's here in America that's vested in this country, all right, are the seeds of the adulteries and seeds of the whore. America is that whore. All right, and you go to Nahum 3:4, "Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms." So nations interplay, right? You know, nations deal with each other through traffic, through commerce. And one of the ways in which America spreads its whoredom, being the mystery Babylon, that mother of all harlots, is by indoctrinating nations and influencing them to do bad business, murder, rob, do whatever you have to do in order for the sake of capitalism and democracy. Then they mask immorality through democracy and create all types of indecency throughout the world, and it just has a ripple effect. You know, they do business with Iraq, and then Iraq falls several years later, and now it's a haven for women, single women in their 40s and 50s, because in their 30s it's lucky, because a lot of those people was put to death during the war, a lot of those men. So it's almost like a city with lacking men now. It says, verse 4, "Because of the multitude of whoredoms." So America is known for a multitude of whoredom. It's going to come at you in each and every single way, whether through your family, whether through your children, whether through your job. They're going to learn how to corrupt you slowly. Television, TV, all right, the media is going to learn how to corrupt you, because there's even Obama or Biden signed it into office, or Trump, right? But within the last 10 years, there was an act that was signed where the state or the government can put out false propaganda, knowing that it's false. They are not obligated to put out true information anymore. This is the well-favored harlot, right? And one thing that makes a good harlot is it sleeps with everybody. And America is in bed with all types of nations. They do business deals and coups, and all right, all for the love of drugs, war, and other ways to get a profit. It's all about reaping the profits and draining countries of their resources slowly. It says, "The mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcraft." So there's nothing that won't stop America for being evil and doing wickedness. It says, "Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts. I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame," which sounds a lot like Habakkuk, where I believe 2nd chapter, where shameful spewing will be upon America and upon this whore, because her skirts will be lifted up. Figuratively, this America being a woman and a whore that is fully exposed, right? Because modesty is what a woman's supposed to be embracing, not whoredoms and nakedness. So the nakedness is all of the information and the lies and deception being uncovered through the prophets of the Lord, also through whistleblowers, the internet, telling the true tales of what America has done in its past, present, and future. All right, because they have agendas lined up for the future as well. It says, "And I will show the nations thy nakedness in the kingdoms thou shalt." All right, and you go into Revelations, back in Revelations 17 and 2. Right, but 17 and 1 finishes off, "I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters." The many waters are dealing with all of the people here. All right, all of the different nations here. All right. It's like a sea of people is what they call it. It's dealing with the multitudes of people here. All right. When you jump into verse 15, "And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues." Okay. So America is that place that sits upon many waters. Why? Because it's a melting pot. Right? All of the nations have come here to do the business with America. It's an attraction for business people. It's an attraction for people that want to make money and love capitalism. Verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, right? And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So we're stemming back to the Lord's cup being placed in the hand of Babylon. Jeremiah 51 and 7, "Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand." So the Lord is ushering in the defeat of Babylon by making her nations angry against her. See, ultimately, the whore falls, the whore dies, the whore gets slaughtered by the beast. The beast shall hate the whore. It says, "That made all the earth drunken with philosophies, drunken with worldly wisdom that comes to naught, a counsel that comes to naught, savagery of Esau, Edom." Right? Because the so-called white man has pitched the idea that we can go into your land and free people as long as they ask us to come in, especially if you got resources. Never hear about the people of Ghana being freed. You hear about Iraq and all these Middle Eastern countries, Syria, because there's oil there. So he has his eye on the bigger picture, right? Capitalism and a world order. So it goes on. The nations have drunk her wine, therefore the nations are mad. All right. So lining up with back in Revelation 17 and 2, "And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication." All right. Also, jumping to Revelations 18 and 3 says, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." So it's commonly known that this whore is going to be one that sleeps with many different nations, getting all the nations drunk, right? Because who's mad at America? China, Russia, India, South Africa, all the BRICS nations, Brazil. They're mad at the false usage of the dollar and the manipulation that this America shows for during times of war, and how they use propaganda to deceive other nations that they're in the right when they're in the wrong. The nations have been drunk with the lies that America's been pumping out, and now they're mad. It goes on in Revelation 18 and 3, "And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." So America has rewarded her participants in the whoredom generously, because they have reaped all of the rewards. See, America is a place that will pay you for your crime, pay you for your patriotism and loyalty to the establishment of America. So you can allow Americans to come and put up a military base in your country. America has over 1,000 foreign military bases. That means they are on your soil. Even if you don't associate or have American citizenship, Americans are right now, currently, more than likely, in your part of the world, somewhere in the form of a submarine or in a naval base or in a marine base or in an army base, somewhere out there. Over 1,000 military bases outside, internationally, non-domestic. And so what did they cause? They caused the nations to get rich. And that waxing rich, the scriptures talk about a gift destroyeth the heart, and the simple believeth every word. So the nations, they were dumb for believing in America, for thinking that this whore had something better to offer when it didn't. It spread her legs and now they're burning, right? So let's go back to Revelation 17, verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-covered beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And these are all these nations that make up NATO and the EU, right? Because at one point it was the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire turned into these vassal states. Look up vassal, Roman Empire vassal states, which there were 10 main ones. And so these later turned into, you've heard of names like Goths and Visigoths and the Lombards. These later turned into the EEC, right? The EEC, which became several different states, involving former colonies of Rome, right? And the EEC turned into today NATO and the EU. So it's all here, Times that we're living in are the scriptures is catching up, or the times that we're living in are catching up with the scriptures. So again, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. A woman is America, right? And the scarlet-colored beast represents NATO and the EU. And scarlet represents sin. So the precept for that is Isaiah 1:18. Come now and let us reason together, saith the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be white as wool. So the sins of this beast, all right, is causing it to be scarlet colored. And the 7 heads equal out these kingdoms, which we have signs on this: Germania Major, Germania Minor, Italy, Greece, France, Spain, and Britain. 7 heads. The 10 horns represents, as I mentioned earlier, the EEC, established in 1958, originally comprised of Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Spain, and Portugal, England and Ireland, and West Germany. Similar to Daniel's the 2nd chapter, the 10 toes. All right. Verse 4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with purple and precious stones and pearls. America became rich off of slavery, became rich by traffic, and it had gold and things that it stole when they came to this country, right? The island of Puerto Rico, famously named Rich Port, because there was gold all in that island. There was gold all up and down the west coast of America, the gold rush, and so Golden State, right? And so that helped with the allure, that helped with the nations being attracted to this woman who was decked. It looked like she had money over here. It says, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. So again, this place has that golden cup. It's filled with fornication. It's filled with corruptness. It's filled with her filth. It's filled with abominations. All right. It's filled with idolatry. All right. It's filled with sodomites. It's filled with evil. It's filled with child sacrifices. All right. It's filled with defiled minds, people with plagues of madness. So it's evil, and it's filthy. And a woman that participates in evil, filthy things and spread her germs, eventually she gets put to death, right? Which is going to happen to America. It says, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations. And the scriptures basically make it so that she came alluring and beautiful, decked out, garnished, lovely, but she had this cup that she would make the nations drink as long as they deal with her. They can deal with her, they can love her, they could be in love with her as long as they drink of that cup. And the cup was filled with this lies and fornication, and now they've become drunk. It says, and upon her forehead was written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abomination of the earth. So we understand also that there's something called numerology, and each Hebrew letter breaks into a different number, and putting together Mystery Babylon, that phrase in a certain way equals 666, which is the number of the mark, right? Going into Revelation 13. So now is the time, understanding America's role as the mother of harlots and abominations in the earth, and understanding that it's equivalent, that number, that phrase, Mystery Babylon, the mother of all harlots and abominations of the earth, it's a code, it's an encoded numerology, the value of 666, which is a part of the beast. Lets us know that we right there, we right around the corner. All right, we right around the corner. It says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So you have here all the Israelites that's been killed, slaughtered here. The blood of the saints, right? The northern tribes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native American Indians and Seminole Indians, slaughtered. Trail of Tears, Wounded Knee, American Indian War 1, 2, and I believe they had a third one. You know, it's nothing but devastation and bloodshed that was had to these people, our people. The blood of the saints, and the woman is drunk with it. So the woman herself is drunk with blood, right? Blood. Now you do have this so-called transatlantic slave trade, and over here then how many years? 250, I believe, of hardcore slavery, 1620 to 18 something. And so you have the blood of the saints being spilled over here by the woman, right? It says, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Right? We just went into 7 heads and 10 horns. All right. It says, the beast that thou sawest and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they beheld or behold the beast that was not and is and yet is. Right? And who ascended out of the bottomless pit was Esau during the Renaissance era, 1400s, right? The Renaissance era means rebirth. I believe it's a French word, rebirth. Esau came back into the power because previous to that, Jake was ruling. All the kingdoms was allotted to so-called Negroes, whether they were called Tawny, whether they were called Ruddy, all right, whether we were called brown or black. So-called black people ruled in England, all right, London and France and all of these places, right? Especially a place called Hibernia. It used to be called Iberia, which means Iberia translate to Hebrew, which is the place today known as the United Kingdom. So Jake was all throughout there, right? Don't forget about Corsica, Spain, and the conquest of the Moors over Spain and Portugal. So Jake was all up in there, but Esau rose back into power, right? He ascended out of the bottomless pit. That's Russia. Slovakia. That's Europe. Europe is known for not being a place thriving with agriculture. A lot of its food gets imported. All right, what are they known for? Potatoes. That's about it. You know. They even had a famine called the potato famine, showing you that, you know, the food there doesn't just grow easily. It's a bottomless pit. All right, and so it says also whose names were not written in the book of life, because only the people who are a part of the elect can be written into the book of life, and the elect comes out of the nation of Israel only. It says, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are the 7 mountains. Mountains represent the governments, right? On which the woman sitteth. On which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and yet there's the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. 5 are fallen. It's going all the way back into some of those states that came out of the vassal, right? The Roman Empire. France fell, Greece, Germania Major and Germania Minor, and Spain. That's the 5 that fallen. 1 is, there's the Roman Empire. The Romans at the time this was written was still in power. The one that is not yet, or it says the one that is not yet come, is talking about America. First, Great Britain, which was one of the horns that came out of the beast in Daniel's. One of the 3 horns that came, where a little one rose out of it, and because out of Great Britain came America, right? If you know the history of America, it was settled first by the Spaniards. The first town or city in America was a Spanish town, I believe St. Petersburg, some Spanish name. That was the first city in America. But then the Dutch were here as well in New England. But then the English came in and pretty much took over America from the French, from the Spaniards, from the Dutch. It was mainly England that prevailed. And then out of that came America. All right, the other yet is not come. So at that time, Britain had not come. It was only the Roman Empire. And the 5 that were fallen was some of the vassal states. Revelation 17:11, and the beast was and is not. Even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. So the beast that was and is not is referring to the Roman Empire, which came back in the reincarnation as America. The 8th, and is of the 7. America came out of the British Empire, which is of the 7. And it goeth into perdition, meaning America will be destroyed. So the beast that was, referring to the Roman Empire, was and is not, even is the 8th, and is of the 7. All right, the 8th and is of the 7. America came out of the British Empire, which was the 7th, and goeth into perdition, meaning there's going to be a destruction here. And the 10 horns, verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. All right, so we understand that the Roman Empire came back into power after being healed by way of the EEC, turning into the European Union, right, which only started with 10 members, right, 10 members. That 1 hour stands for 41.6 years, and the to go with that is 2 Peter 3:8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day with the Lord is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is 1 day. So that's how you calculate that 1 hour. It says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Right? So the EU nations are in agreement, one mind, giving their power to support NATO. That's the strength of the beast. The EU and NATO working together. All right, waging war, taking down. One mind. If one gets attacked, they all attack. That's why Ukraine is not a part of NATO. Is an ally, but it's not a part of NATO. That's why the other nations can't attack. Ukraine, because they're not a part of that one mind. They're not a part of the 10 kings, the 10 horns. It says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. So America's allies is going to take part in the destruction of it by turning their weapons against it, warring against it. That's how they'll hate the whore. So the whore ultimately dies. Why? Because she's allowed to make nations drunk, and she has made them mad. That's officially the standpoint that the nations are taking towards America. They're mad. They're tired of the BS that the whore continues to try to make them drink. She's still pouring down the mouths of many different allies her poison, and it's all poison. They're all being made drunk. Eventually they snap out and become enraged, and even a drunk man can get very enraged and want to fight. It says, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that fire goes into the final destruction of America, which is Third World War, thermonuclear war. ICBMs are going to light up the sky of America and detonate with multiple warheads. This place is going to be fiery inferno. Right? Obadiah 1:7 says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in them. Those that eat that bread. And don't we use that term bread still to symbolize money? So you eat the bread and you're making money. This is all dealing with the great whore and all her allies that sleep with this whore and became drunk from that cup. Going into the fornications, the cup of abominations, defilement. Right now, nations all over the world have to, as the ones that have morals, ones that had integrity, are losing it because they're getting drunk from the month that is dedicated to something that is complete abomination. But the nation America, the whore, is still trying to manipulate and pour these lies into the nations while they're just drinking it up, because they're eating the bread. So they that have eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There's none understanding in them. So the corruption is going to come to an end. America's lies is going to come to an end. Right? It says, Revelation 17:17, for Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. And what do we know about the Father? He allows nations to do his will. He controls, manipulates time, seasons. He's the one that authorizes downfalls of kingdoms and uprisings and war and peace. Job 33:15, in the dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instructions, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. So the instructions are sealed because Most High gives these men what to do, what to say, when to say it, when to do it. And it's no different when he causes 2 nations to go to war, if not 3, let alone 3, 4, 5 nations to go to war. Proverbs 20:24, man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? Why? Because it's all lined up to do exactly what the Heavenly Father wants them to do. There's no such thing as free will. But until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. Once again, verse 17, for Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city. You know, citizenship is a city dweller, right? That great city is Mystery Babylon. That great city is the mother of all harlots. That great city is that whore that sitteth upon many waters. That great city is America. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And America notably is the top nations of the world. All right, it entices, it does coups, it influences, it's the whore. It brings abominations in the form of a cup, and it has that traffic, and it has that commerce, and it has that appeal that all these nations want to come here. It has many waters. Other nations don't have that. Okay. And it was prophesied of since the days of old, and the destruction as well. So, Lord willing, this video is edifying. Until next time, shalom.